Hello friends, so in this video we are going to have a discussion on wait and wait PID system calls. So when we call wait in our application, it will actually listen for the change of the state of a child process. So if we want the state of that child process at a particular time, we can use the wait and wait PID system calls. So let's start coding now. So first include the header files. So I need to include one uni std.h for fork system call. Then for wait system call, we need to include sys wait.h, right? So let's create our first process. So we can say pid underscore t, then we have p1 is equal to fork, right? And if p1 is equal to 0, then we can say it's a child process. So we have to return from the child process also, and then we need to print the PID of this child process, and that can be the child p1 PID is equal to get PID, right? So after that we need to add some sleep in here also to monitor our child process. So let's have sleep of 10 seconds till now, and then we have to print the p1 exited, right? So this creates our child process, and now we want to wait for this child process to monitor the change of state of the child process. So as we see, this wait statement is a blocking call, and it will wait for that process to complete, and it will be listening on to this process until some activity or some change of state of this child process occurs, right? So it will return two things. One is a -1 value that actually denotes that there is some error in the wait call and we need to exit from that function. And also, if some activity or change of state of this process p1, then we will get one the PID of this child process as a return type. So let's have this PID underscore t, and we have PID underscore t and w PID. Okay, we can call it as 1. So if w PID 1 is equal to -1, then we can say we can exit the process, right? It's 1, right? So if it is not, then we need to print if w PID 1 is greater than 0, then we need to print what we need to print. We need to print the PID of the process that is being returned from this. Okay, so let's say the w PID 1 is equal to %t, then we have w PID 1. Okay, so let's run this program and see what is happening here. So let's compile it, then we have to execute it. So you see, you get the first PID of the child process, and it have to wait for a 10 second before it get exited, and now it get exited. and giving the return for this wait statement as the PID of the child process, the same one. Okay, so if we have two processes, so let's copy this whole and let's copy here, change the variable names, then we have P2, then we have here P2, and here we have P2, and let's change the sleep for this fork, and let's say it's 5 seconds. And then the same process here also, we need to have one more wait for the second one, and let's say it's a W2, and if you say or WPID2 is equal to -1, the same error statement was there, and if WPID2 is greater than 0, then the same print statement we have to print with the PID2. So let's have this, and let's change here also. Okay, so let's run it again and see what is happening now. So you see two processes have been started, and they are waiting on the wait statement. So P2 is exited now. Okay, you get the WPID as the first and the second process, right? So as wait will wait for any process that exit first from the parent. So if we want some particular process to, so that we can wait on that process, so we have to use wait PID system call. So if we change here to wait PID, so the first the parameter is the PID of the process. So what's the PID? So we can get P1 for the first process and P2 for second process. Okay, so in the parent it will return the child PID. So we'll have P1, then next is null, and next we can take 0 right now. Okay, and the second we want to wait for the second process. So if you have here, then we have P2 here, then the same 0 here. Okay, so now wait PID for this will check for the P1 process only, and this wait PID will check for the second P2 process only. So let's see and compile it now. Okay, so first the P2 exited, then the P1, then it will give both the output. So it will also return the PID of the process on which the change of state occurs. Okay, so as we know, wait PID is a blocking call too. So if we want our wait PID to return immediately, if there is no error in case of a child process, then we need to use some parameters. So let's delete this thing, and then we have to use wait PID. Then there are few parameters like we use -1 if we want to check any process that get exited or any uneven behavior in the child process. Then we use null here, and then we use whang flag. So this wait PID will return immediately if the processes, that is P1 and P2, is being executed successfully. And this is very helpful because we are not blocking our parent and made our parent to use this time for other processing also. So if we want to continuously look up for the processes, so that none of the process get exited without the intervention of the parent, so we need to have a do while loop here. So if you use do, then we need to have while, then PID T W PID is equal to 0. Then we give here the WPID to get the status, and in the while we need to have WPID is equal to 0. If there is no problem in case of this wait PID at the time of calling, then this PID will be 0, and we may sleep for 1 second, so that we again check the status of the the child process. And if it is greater than 0, then we need to print the WPID, and it will be child exited %t, then we have WPID, right? So let's save and compile one more time. What we have seen from here is the wait PID now is not a blocking call. It is checking the status of the child process after 1 second each. Okay, and if any of the process got some event or they change their state, then it will print the first the PID that got interrupted. So if we want some more code here for the action we want to do for the exited process, like we need to respawn that process, so we can have our code here, right? So depending on our usability, how we are using this wait PID, we can make our amendments. So okay, so I think you understood how we are using the non-blocking call to actually check our the child processes, and also we have seen how we have to make our CPU to release some memory by using the non-blocking calls. So okay, that's for this session. Meet you in the next session. Okay.